It's Lucas from the S2 Live Show, and today we have another guest from the fitness industry. His name is David Marrero. He's a vegan fitness expert. He knows a lot about training, about nutrition in general, and we can definitely learn a lot from him. He's also super funny and has a very interesting approach to marketing.
Alright, time to make this chess game.
So, without further ado, let's get into the interview. Yeah, awesome to have you here, man. First of all, thank you, David, for taking the time. And I think a lot of people that watch this today, they can definitely learn a lot because you have a lot of knowledge about fitness, nutrition, and especially everything on a vegan diet. So why don't you just tell us how did you find your way into fitness and how did you become a vegan in the end?
Yeah. Well, first of all, definitely thank you for reaching out and asking me to be a part of what you guys got building. I think it's a great thing. For those of you who don't know, I'm David Marrero, and I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been vegan 1.5 years. So it's definitely been a wonderful lifestyle change that I'm enjoying, and now I'm definitely trying to be an advocate for veganism, the vegan community, and also to show people that it's possible that you can build quality muscle, build a quality physique on I call it plant-based vegan diet. So
yeah, I mean, you're definitely proving the point because I know about some of your strength feats. You're pretty strong, man. Like, what are some of your, what's your best bench? What's your best deadlift?
I haven't powerlifted in a while because I'm focusing more on building up some of my weak areas, and I'm currently dieting. But I believe so. My PR on bench was 405 pounds. My deadlift was 585 pounds, and my squat was I think it was over 450. It might have been like 485. I think it was like 100-pound difference from my deadlift.
That's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man.
So what did you notice, what were some of the changes that you noticed once you went vegan? Because I know you've been healthy before, but were there any significant changes that you noticed?
The major notices or changes that I saw was my skin. My skin really cleared up, and I kind of had that glow going on. And then my energy levels. Now, I do contribute the energy levels going up because of the increase of carbohydrate intake. But I feel that, there's bad stigmatism going around carbohydrates, and that, if you eat too much, you'll end up, getting fat pretty much, which is far from the truth. So, transitioning over into, the vegan lifestyle, vegan diet, it kind of helped change my relationship with carbohydrates in a sense. And, so those are the two major changes that I saw right away was my skin and definitely my energy levels.
You just mentioned the carb myth pretty much. What are some of the other biggest misconceptions that you hear being thrown around? Something like soy, that it creates man boobs or something like this. Like, what are some of the main things that you always hear that are not true?
Yeah, soy is kind of a highly debated topic. Without kind of going into the whole spiel, soy is safe to eat. Soy does have what's called phytoestrogens, and specifically in soy it has isoflavones, which is a phytoestrogen, which mimics estrogen estradiol that's produced in our bodies. But it does not increase estrogen levels. Actually, the studies that's out there has shown that it changes the ratio between good and bad estrogen levels, which it blocks the bad estrogen, which could lead to gynecomastia in men, which is the man boobs. So I'm an advocate of eating soy. I eat soy there's no issues with it. And then two, the studies behind soy, a lot of it is conducted on animals, a lot of it is conducted on women, and I think that's kind of where the confusion comes into play. But yeah, I have tons of studies that I can also share too that, says that soy is safe. Some other things that I get as far as the vegan diet is, and we all know this, where do you get your protein from? And then, what's another common thing? Pretty much, can you build muscle? And this comes down to the whole, protein thing. As far as people don't understand that, plants do contain protein.
I mean, the animals get their protein also from the plants, and then so it's a pretty stupid argument that people say you cannot get enough protein from plants.
I read this article which kind of helped me put things into perspective, because we know, or what's kind of been advocated out there or talked about is, they say a carb is a carb. When you eat a carb, your body doesn't know if the carb is good nor bad. Now, how your body reacts to it, without kind of going into scientifically, as far as when it comes to glucose, fructose, and lactose, the different types of sugars and how your body processes it. With that aside, a carb, and this I'm speaking in simple terms. So, as they say, a carb is a carb. The article that I read kind of helped me put things into perspective as far as a protein is a protein. So, and what that means is that animal protein contains all of the 9 essential amino acids, which makes it a complete protein. That's kind of the whole premise of why people say that animal protein is superior than plant protein. But the thing about it is you don't have to consume all 9 essential amino acids or complete protein in one sitting. As long as you get all of your essential amino acids throughout the day, your body is going to create complete proteins to be utilized and to be synthesized. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I just had a discussion with this guy about protein, about amino acids, and the whole thing. Anyway, so yes, plant protein is definitely a good quality source to have. There is an argument as far as the bioavailability between like soy protein, pea protein in comparison to whey. But overall, protein is protein. I think what we have to place more emphasis on is our overall caloric intake, which is is the determining factor whether you lose weight or build muscle.
Great point. Yeah, you mentioned last time, I think, that because I asked you what is for the listeners, for somebody that's starting out, you said determining your caloric intake is one of the most important things first. So where or how do people find out their caloric intake in order to plan their nutrition?
Yeah, I created I call it a calorie and macro estimator spreadsheet. And I'll send it over to you so you can give it out to your people. And those listening in, because it's a great tool to use. So pretty much, yeah, you just enter in your personal information and everything's already calculated for you to give you a good starting point, to give you a baseline. You have to remember too, with these macro estimators, these calorie estimators, they're just that. They're estimators, or they just give you an estimate. It doesn't take individual factors, such as it's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis or something. I forgot what the T stands for, but this is kind of like your daily activities. How active you are as a person. So we have to take that into account, and you have to make your adjustments of your calories between 10 to 15%. So to give you an example, for me, like when I punch my numbers in, it says that my daily caloric intake, or my maintenance level, this is how many calories I need for my body to not gain or lose weight, is 3,000, let's say like 3,000 calories. But my true BMR is called my basal metabolic rate, and my TDEE. That's your total daily energy expenditure. This is how many calories you need in total to coincide with how active you are. It's more in the 2,800 caloric range, which is about 10%. It's a 10% differential.
So then for people to try out, so let's say like you have the 3,500 calories, that's what this tool says, and then they have to adjust it. So let's say they try it for a couple of weeks and they still gain weight or lose weight, depending on their goal, they adjust it. How long would you take the period for testing? So let's say they test the caloric intake for like a week or two, or what would be your preferred?
My preferred is a minimum 2 weeks, preferred 4. It takes your body anywhere between, you know, and it depends on individual factors, you know, on individual cases. It can be anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks for your body to adjust to the new caloric intake. So if you've only been eating, let's just say 2,000 calories, and then you increase your calories up to, you know, let's just say even 2,500 calories. I mean, that's a huge change. But you know, don't freak out. Stay with it. Stay consistent. Because once you know your true caloric numbers, losing weight, losing body fat, gaining muscle is going to be a breeze. So I say about 4 weeks.
What are some of the other tips that you can give for, let's say, somebody who's starting out or who's an intermediate already and who want to transition, for example, like to a plant-based diet? What are some of the most important training tips for a beginner?
Okay, so for a beginner, now are we talking about training or diet or dieting?
Let's start with the training first. I mixed the two questions, man. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So as far as the training, if you are a beginner, I advise you really only need to work out 3 times per week. Can you work out more? Yes. Obviously, yes, you can. You can work out as much as you want, but the thing that we have to take into account is that if you're a beginner, if you have not really worked out before, the rate of your gains, let's say, the rate of neuromuscular activity is high. That means that you're going to exponentially make gains fast. That's why, you know, they say newbie gains within the first year is where you're going to gain the majority of your weight, and that's just because you're starting from a fresh canvas. Let's just talk about like painting. You know, you're starting fresh, so you just need a minimum amount of stress placed upon your muscles, placed upon your body, placed upon your central nervous system, and you're going to make gains. So I advise, you know, 3 times per week, focusing more on compound movements, you know, your bench, overhead press, squatting, deadlifting, because I'm a big advocate on, you know, learning your fundamentals, learning the principles of lifting, you know, learning how to perform the exercise, the movement correctly, learning the movement patterns to set your foundation, because then, you know, you can move into your isolation exercises, which you don't have to be so, it's easy to do, you know, doing a bicep curl, you know, it's really not that difficult, you know, to learn. You know, there are some tweaks you can make to it, but it's harder to learn how to do a deadlift as opposed to doing a bicep curl. So, and then too, you know, compound exercises, you're working multiple body parts at one time, and our body functions best using multiple body parts. You know, our body's meant to be in sync using multiple body parts as opposed to isolating one exercise or one muscle group, excuse me.
Yeah, that's definitely a mistake I made in the beginning, because I think a lot of people who are starting out, they take like a program for Muscle and Fitness or something like this, and then it has 10 exercises for chest, and And then you cannot walk for like a week because your chest hurts so much. But you're not making any gains for like half a year or 1 year or something. Because it's too much and not enough compound exercise.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm laughing because I mean I think most of us, especially to the people watching here, I think whether you want to admit it or not, we've taken one of those Men's Fitness or bodybuilding.com exercise workout programs and used it, and yeah, a lot of that. It's on the advanced level. If you try to do a workout like I'm just shooting names out there, like who's popular, like a Simeon Panda or Kai Green. These guys are, they've reached their pinnacle of fitness, so they're at an advanced state. So the stress that they have to place upon their muscles to grow, I mean, it's really high, as opposed to if you're a beginner. You don't need to place that much stress upon your body. And recovery, you definitely have to allow your body to recover, because that's where the growth happens. So. Mm-hmm.
So what are some recovery methods that you use on a regular basis that you can recommend to the listeners?
Definitely stress, and these are kind of things that I don't think are really stressed upon, is lowering your stress levels, because if you have higher stress levels, it does increase, your cortisol levels, which is a fat storing. It increases fat storage, and also it decreases your ability to synthesize protein and other hormones that's needed to help with muscle growth. Also sleep, same thing. If you don't get enough sleep, you're not allowing your body to repair itself. And again, it also is kind of like a snowball effect. You don't get enough sleep. When you wake up, your stress levels are going to be higher, which means that your cortisol levels are going to be higher, which means you're not going to make gains. So you can start off small. These are things that you can start doing today. And that's kind of, what I try to, I always try to give information that you can start off today, because it's the simple things that has a compounding effect. What are some other things? Drinking water. You have to drink water. You have to, our bodies are made up of over 60% of water. So we have to keep it hydrated, because keeping it hydrated does play a role on how we digest food. Also plays a role in the protein synthesis, to allow the ability for our muscles to recover, to grow, to repair itself. Let's see what else. So yeah, water, sleep, stress. Definitely stretching post-workout, stretching on your days off. I also recommend doing yoga. On my days off, I try to incorporate some type of yoga, because it does help with mobility. It helps with your breathing, and it helps reduce stress. So those are some of the small things that I feel that those of you listening out there can implement. And if you do it for a long period of time, you are going to see a shift in your mental state and a shift in how your body performs.
And in terms of mindset, because a lot of people always say like it's 70% nutrition, 30% training, but then nobody ever talks about mindset. Like there's people that go into the gym and they believe that they can make a certain number happen, or that they can reach a certain goal, and they are much more likely to reach it actually. So what's your take on mindset, and is there any specific steps that you take in order to get your mindset ready?
Yeah, so I'm probably a little bit more neurotic probably than most people, because everything begins in the mind. Everything begins with your thoughts, and this happens with what's going on behind the curtains or behind the scenes, as far as our subconscious and our conscious, And I try to work every day to bring awareness to my subconscious, because what's going on in our subconscious is what dictates our mindset and pretty much how we conduct ourselves throughout the day. And by being conscious of our behavior, we are able to change our habits. By changing our habits, we can change anything in our life. So I think let me see, honey, can you hand me my book, the book that I have on the habits? So I'm currently reading a book. It's called The Power of Habits. And I think, you know, this is huge, because, you know, it's the small things that matter. And by building, you know, small habits, small routines is what the yellow book, I think it's in my book bag. Yeah, I'm asking my girl to get a book. I'll show you guys that I'm reading. Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this book right here, it's called The Power of Habit. I highly recommend this book because it teaches you how to build new habits off of your old habits, because it's easier to implement new habits by they call it, you know, hacking into your old habits. So some of the things that I do to get ready, you know, for the week, to make sure that I'm being mindful of my energy and my time is, let's say for the gym, you know, I go to the gym after work. So what I do is I bring my shoes, my gym shoes with me inside. In my office, and I keep it with me, and I set an alarm, and I use a different sound than my regular alarm for waking me up. And so pretty much this alarm or this distinct sound that I only use sets the cue, or sets my mental state to start prepping me and getting ready to go to the gym. So as soon as my alarm goes off, I put on my shoes. And that little action that you're taking right there is setting your mind to get you ready to go to the gym. Because before, what would happen is I would get off of work, and then I would get in my car, and then my mind would already tell me, oh man, I'm tired, it's been a stressful day, I can miss today, you know, I don't need to go work out, you know, I'll work out tomorrow. So to kind of, and that's a habit, you know, the way we think too are habits. So in order to kind of break that way of thinking, I implemented, you know, the alarm, and I implemented, you know, bringing my shoes. It may sound crazy, but trust me, if you guys give it a try, you're gonna be amazed. So yeah, I do that. I get in my car. There's a certain song or songs. It's up to you. You can have like a playlist that I only listen to while going to the gym. And again, these are all things to set my mind up for success for the gym. I get to the gym, when I go to the gym, I get on the treadmill, I do about 5 to 10 minute warm up. And the warm up is just to pretty much kind of let go of any stress that I had during work. I do some breathing techniques, some visualization of the exercises that I'm going to do, just kind of a prep and kind of getting my cues in order for the exercises that I'm going to do. And then by the time that I go lift, you know, mentally I'm already there, so I'm good to go. I get my workout in, and I've seen a shift in my mindset as far as being more productive in the gym, being more aware when I'm in the gym. Because another thing too is, we may make it to the gym physically, but if you're not there mentally, you're not going to be able to have that mind and muscle connection in place, and you just may not have a good quality workout without having the mindset in place, as well as physically being there.
That's a good point. A very simple trick for this as well. Either like keep your phone in your gym bag, or if you take it there to listen to music, then completely turn off the internet. Because I see a lot of people, they sit most of the time on the bench or something and they check their phone or they read emails or they're on WhatsApp, and you're not going to have a productive workout like this. So the most important thing is leave your phone off, turn it off, or just listen to music, something like this. Then going back to nutrition again, what are some of the tips that you can give people in order to transition from a regular diet, from a meat-based diet to a plant-based diet?
That's a really good question, and this is something that I've really been focusing on, there's actually this I don't know if I want to call it a program. I'm going to give this away for free too. I call it the this isn't the official name. Let's just say I call it the Try Phyto method. I call it Try because it's a 3-step process. So it's a 12-week program. Each phase is 4 weeks. So you start off with 4 meals, and this is for people who want to transition into a vegan diet lifestyle. You eat 4 meals. Just to make things easier. You don't have to eat 4 meals, but it's easier to do it that way. You do 4 meals, and what it is that for weeks 1 through 4, what you're gonna do is every week, so you have 4 meals. Week 1, let's just say you're gonna have 1 meal with no meat. You can still eat dairy, you can still do all that stuff. 3 meals, you can eat meat. And then week 2, you're only gonna have 2 meals with meat. And in 2 meals, you're going to replace it with, plant-based protein, plant-based calories, and so on and so forth. So for the first phase, by the end of week 4, you would have cut out meat completely. You can still eat dairy products because that's going to be phase 2. So phase 2, what you do is same thing. You'll have 3 meals. You can have dairy, eggs, yogurt, butter, whatever. But 1 meal is gonna be meat-free, dairy-free, and we're gonna do that. You'll do that for until week 8. Now by week 8, you cut out all meat, you cut out all dairy, and then the last week, the final week, the 4 weeks is when you start introducing new vegan products. To become aware, because I think what happens is it depends your reasoning for choosing a vegan diet, choosing a vegan lifestyle. Some people have the ability to quit cold turkey, which I did, but my reasoning for quitting outweighed my wanting for meat and dairy. After watching the kind of the popular documentaries out there, Worth the Health, Earthlings, Force Organized. If you have not watched those, I highly recommend that. Kind of gives you it's eye-opening. I'll just say that. And so for those who aren't able to quit cold turkey, because the first thing that I get, and I just did an event a couple of days ago. The number one reason why, and it's that people, because there were a lot of vegetarians out there too, that they did not convert or don't think that they can, is cheese. And that's wild. But and I keep forgetting the name, and the reason being is because cheese has an ingredient in there. You can Google it. That is addicting. So when you eat it, it has the same effects of your brain as if you was doing drugs. So it increases your dopamine levels, and it plays the same effects. As if you were doing drugs. I think they kind of it was like heroin or one of those drugs. So as far as the way that the brain reacted to it, so that's the reason why people can't give up cheese, is because it actually has addicting properties in it. And I think that if you become aware of that, you can become more conscious as far as giving it up. So I don't know if that was kind of I kind of went left field on you there, but definitely start small. I think a lot of it has to do with finding a good support system, educating yourself, and putting a plan together. And this is for anything. If you're trying to achieve any goals. To me, I think that those are the three major ingredients. And how we connected, we connected through, they have a lot of great vegan Facebook groups out there that you can join, become a part of. And if you have questions, you can ask on there. So I know those were kind of vague answers, but hopefully, some of it was helpful.
No, it's a great point, especially the last part where you said that the people that you surround yourself with. So let's say you're vegan, you want to become vegan, but then everybody around you eats a lot of meat. That's a very big and important point in order to, you have to find new friends that you hang out with. I mean, you don't have to, but it makes it easier, of course, if you surround yourself with people that also become vegan. Because, for example, in my case, it was easier because in my company, the company itself is not vegan at all, but my department, we're in a small sales department, they were all vegan. So it was pretty easy because then it was like you said, pretty much. I transitioned, I had lunch was vegan, the rest was non-vegan. Then lunch was vegan, the rest was only vegetarian. And then it slowly, it didn't take 3 times 4 weeks, it took more like half a year or something. But it worked, and it's really important to have people around you that are on the same page as you, because it's much more difficult when you go out to eat and all of your friends, they order bacon and burger or something, to stay consistent to your own beliefs. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, that's definitely huge. And even if you don't, and even like for you, you were fortunate, and that's awesome. I mean, I wish where I worked, we were all vegans, because it just we have a commonality.
Yeah, we only 4 people though. It's a very small department. The company is big, but the department is pretty small.
Yeah, but that's cool. Even
I know,
still,
cool,
if we're having 4 people, I mean, that's kind of, to me, I feel like that kind of brings you guys maybe a little bit closer in building a stronger work relationship. Education is big as far as always reminding yourself the reasons why you're doing it. Because, for an example, I went to a Brazilian restaurant, and I don't know if you guys have ever gone to a Brazilian restaurant, but it's pretty much all meat. They have waiters that come around, and it's unlimited meat. And me and Tasia and I went, and it was for a friend's birthday party. There was like 15 or 20 people there, and we were the only ones who didn't eat meat. So they had a salad bar there, and so everybody was kind of looking at us weird. But when you are grounded, or you have kind of a unshaken belief, it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. If they want to judge, let them judge. Everybody has an opinion. That as they say, everybody has an asshole. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's gonna have an opinion as well. Really, always remind yourself the reason why you're doing it. And I think that over time that will kind of drown out any external factors, I guess. Because I don't have many vegan friends in real life. All of my vegan friends are online. So, and it's kind of crazy. And I don't mean to veer off topic, but we went to a friend's engagement party yesterday, and it was kind of cool because there was another couple there that were vegan, and that was the first time that we've ever come in contact with another vegan couple unexpectedly. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's definitely like for all the people watching this. If you go like on meetup.com and you live in a major city, there's always at least like one monthly vegan meetup in your city happening, or there's vegan events, or like you said, the vegan Facebook groups. So there's a lot of ways to connect with the people, or you just go to the vegan restaurants. You will definitely find some vegans there. We were actually in Berlin. They have it's like the vegan capital of Europe. That's the most vegan city in the whole Europe. And we went the other day to a restaurant, which is, I've never seen this before. It was a restaurant and it was divided in like half of the restaurant was vegan, the other half was non-vegan. And it was separated by doors even, like they were two different. And the non-vegan room was completely empty. Everybody was in the vegan room.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, Berlin is definitely on one of my places to travel because it has such a huge vegan community. Like you, I met you on Facebook group, and this is for the audience out there. This is the power of, sometimes we place a lot of negativity on social media, but it does also have, its positive benefits, because, we met, via one of the vegan Facebook groups, and now we're here today. And, when I plan to visit Berlin, I plan on visiting him, and we'll go out and have some vegan food. So, there is some positivity. And I also think that that's also important, which also relates to, training and nutrition, is having a positive outlook, having a positive mindset. Because once you kind of drown out or take away your negative thoughts, or shift your negative mindset and make it more positive, you can definitely have big changes in your life. So I'm big on that.
All right. And then, a common question that I think everybody's also thinking, like, what are some of your go-to vegan protein sources? Probably you mentioned tofu, that you don't have an issue with that. So what are some of the go-to sources?
So when I'm not dieting, when I'm I guess you could call it bulking, I don't take any protein supplements, just because my caloric intake is high enough to where I can get a variety of foods, and I can easily meet my protein intake through whole food sources. But when I'm dieting, which I am now, I do incorporate a protein supplement, which is they probably don't have it in Germany, but those of you who are in America or Canada, I think Canada has it available. Is Garden of Life and Sunflower are the companies. Those are the two proteins that I use. That is easily digestible, and that's kind of one of the biggest kind of complaints when it comes to some of the plant protein, is that it's not easily digestible. But these two I found, they taste great and it's easily digestible. And then a lot of mock meats, seitan, tempeh, tofu. And here in America, we have a brand called Beyond the Meat, and they have awesome, mock meats. But for me, what I try to do, I definitely try to vary my sources of plant protein, so whether it be, from peas, rice, soy, just make sure that you vary your sources. To make sure that you're getting, sufficient amount of amino acids, you should definitely be fine.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier, right? That you have to combine a couple of protein sources so you get all of the essential amino acids. Let's say for somebody who's starting out and who doesn't know that much about different protein sources, what would be your recommended, let's say take some legumes like lentils and then also add some nuts, some seeds, some tofu, tempeh, something like this?
So you hit them all on the nail. So try to what I try to do. I always make sure that I get some type of nuts every day. So whether it's almonds, Brazil nuts, I have a serving of that because it also has healthy fats in it as well. And then some type of seeds. Whether it's hemp seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. Those are kind of my go-to seeds that I incorporate. Legumes, so any type of beans like black beans. I love black beans, so black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, or garbanzo beans. What else? I make sure lots of vegetables. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. let's see what else. You know, carrots, tomatoes, mushrooms, cauliflower, and then like, you know, starchy carbs, like, you know, your white potatoes, sweet potatoes, Japanese potatoes. Let me see what else. I'm just trying to name some stuff off the head that I kind of have go-to meals that I eat, and I think preparation would be the key. Let me just say that, you know, just make sure that you have one of each go-to, and you know, again, you know, little by little, you know, do some research, you know, educate yourself, see what other you know, maybe vegan athletes are eating, and slowly start incorporating it into your diet.
And then in terms of price, like a common complaint is that being vegan is quite expensive, which in Germany, when you eat like a lot of vegetables or like some fruits, it's really, really expensive. So what are some of your tips to save money when you're vegan? Because like one thing that I always recommend is like buy stuff like, I mean, it depends on the country where you live, right? But buy stuff like flaxseed that's regional, like some seeds. In Germany, you get almost a kilo of flaxseed for like €1.5 or €2. So some products are really cheap, some are not. What are some of your tips in order to save a little bit of money while you're being vegan?
For those, you know, who are here in the U.S., beans are, you know, canned beans. Like, I eat canned beans. Some people don't. You know, some people like to cook. I work. I'm busy. You know, for me, what's optimal is not realistic. Meaning that, you know, buying organic, you know, non-cooked beans, cooking my beans. Because I'm just gonna be honest. It takes a long ass time to cook beans. I don't have the time to sit there and watching my beans cook. So I buy canned beans. I make sure that I buy it in a BPA-free cans, and with no sodium or no additives added. I mean, it's gonna have some preservatives, but what I do is when I drain it, I wash it thoroughly. And beans are cheap. You know, very rare. It's like, you know, depending. I usually get like the name brand of wherever that I'm shopping is like 68 cents per can. So there is a way to have a vegan diet that's cheap. Like, if you don't buy any, let's just say when I'm not dieting, when I'm bulking, my groceries is actually very cheap. In America, vegetables are fairly cheap, and you know, beans and rice. So, you know, I'm trying to see off the top of my head how much I would spend in a week, but it wasn't a lot. So, you know, you could buy rice, you know, white rice, brown rice. Again, some people advocate eating rice, some people don't. I'm half Asian, I'm half Korean, half Puerto Rican. I grew up eating rice, white rice. I'm not gonna give it up. So to me, you know, rice isn't bad. If you want to eat brown rice, you can. If you want to eat white rice, you can. That's, you know. Anyway, so yeah, so you can have, you know, canned beans. Lentils is cheap. Peas, you know, you can buy frozen peas for cheap. Let's see. So beans, rice, you know, throw in some sweet potatoes, you know, broccoli, some kale, spinach. I mean, so you can eat, you know, within reason, within budget. I think what happens is, And it doesn't have to be organic, and that's another thing that I want to talk about. Is it more optimal to buy it organic? Yes, but is it more expensive? Yes. So if it's not within your budget to buy, just buy regular. Buy regular vegetables. They don't have to be organic. And that's kind of what I preach. Because a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people. I'm sorry, but they advocate, organic and they always start off on what's optimal. And it's not realistic for a lot of us people out here, A lot of us people, we work, we got bills, and we not. And do you guys have Whole Foods in Germany?
We have a lot of organic supermarkets, but
okay. So it's kind of like Whole Foods, yeah. Whole Foods is expensive. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't afford to go to Whole Foods, man, go to your local grocery store. The vegan section is growing, and buy the foods that you can within your budget. So that's what I got to say. Mock meats is what ends up being expensive, and organic products. I think that's what kind of increases the expense, and why people think that eating a vegan diet is expensive.
That's true. And you can always wash your vegetables or like your fruits in baking soda, which I heard it's eliminating almost like 95% of all of the chemicals used, at least on the outside. I mean, you're not going to get everything out that's on the inside, but like you said, it's better to eat a lot of vegetables which are not organic. And then slowly over time, as you're getting more money, more income, you can then transition to like the optimal organic fruit. Because in Germany, like I buy organic, but it's so expensive, man. Like a single orange is $2. For one fucking orange, man. That's crazy. Man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be eating oranges.
Yeah. And yeah, it's because I mean, like you can buy organic cheaply if you buy regional. Like beetroots are very cheap. Carrots are extremely cheap, like you can buy them in bulk in the organic supermarket for less than €2, and then they last for like a week. So there's always ways. I would just say like be very precise, take a lot of time going through every section in your supermarket, and then just remember all of the prices. And then over time you develop like a habit for finding food that are great for you, but also within your budget, something like this.
Yeah, so yeah, to kind of add into that, I don't shop at one grocery store, and that's another thing. So when I say that I have the means, or I don't have to worry so much about budgeting, it does not mean that I just pick up anything. I may go to Whole Foods for a few items. I may go to this other grocery store because I know that they have items there that are cheap. I go to like 3 to 4 different grocery stores to buy different items. You don't have to do that, but that's just, that these are the things that I do that also kind of, in retrospective kind of help me save money. But then now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the gas money, it doesn't help me save money. But anyway, there is, it is possible, and again, like we said, start off small, because, the cheaper the food, fast food is cheap, because it's cheaply made. And that's one thing that you have to take into account. So, I always like to take a proactive approach, not reactive. And that means that, I'd rather spend a few extra dollars, now buying better quality foods than having to wait in the future and, getting diseases like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension. I think that, health before wealth.
If the audience wants to find out more about you, or if they want to get trained by you, I know that Phyto Physique is coming out soon, but what's the best way to get in contact with you to find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can definitely check me out on Facebook. I think you'll provide the links in the description. Yeah, www.facebook.com/ I think it's David Marrero, I think. But my Instagram is at David J. Marrero, Marrero. But I'm very active on Facebook. And in the future, I will get more active on Instagram. But right now, I put my focus on one social media platform.
So when is Phyto Physique coming? When is it launching, and what's it about?
Yeah, so Phyto Physique is launching. I'm looking in December. So I've been doing online coaching for 2 years, but I shut it down to revamp it because I'm only focusing on vegans, and now I'm only focusing on vegan men, and to kind of narrow, filter my niche down a little bit more is working professional men. Because I'm a working professional man, and I'm vegan, and I understand the struggles that we have on a day-to-day basis. So, for an example, I used to eat 5 to 6 small meals per day, but it's time consuming. It's time consuming to prep it. It's time consuming to wash all of those containers. And then throughout the day, because we may be busy, we may not have the time to eat all those meals. So what I found is that, I only eat 2 meals per day, 2 big meals, and it works within my schedule. So yeah, I eat at 12 o'clock and at 8 o'clock, and that's it. So I get all of my calories in 2 meals, and that's it. I wake up, I hit the ground running, I do what I have to do, because I have a busy schedule, and most people do who work. And I found this to adhere to the most. So anyway, so I kind of focus just on vegan men, new vegan men, or those wanting to transition over. Or also, I call them OG vegans. Vegans who've been in the game, not been in the game, who've lived the lifestyle for a long time, but want to put on muscle, lose body fat, and as I say, get shredded without cheese.
Awesome, man! I'm looking forward to the launch. Yeah, I definitely want to say I really appreciate you taking the time, and I want to thank you for being on the show. And I hope everybody learns a lot actually by you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's interview. I definitely had a fun time talking to David, and in the end, as you can see, we had a little bit of technical issues, but luckily only the last 30 seconds or so were missing. So we only missed pretty much the part where we said goodbye. And we actually had to redo the entire interview because the first time we did it, after 30 minutes or something, something with both of our cameras stopped. And we had some issues with the recording, so I'm pretty happy that it worked now. And I definitely learned a lot. He's super knowledgeable about training. He's a really nice guy, very humble guy, super funny as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to what he's going to accomplish in the future. I hope you guys learned a lot. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. And as always, have a good day.